Here are the foods that I eat and why. Now, my previous video was about the degradation of nutrition in our modern food supply. And in there, I talked about what food actually is, which a lot of people don't know. Food is the macros like protein, fats, carbohydrates, the micros, which are vitamins and minerals. So, like the B vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin A, vitamin D, E, K. Then you have the minerals, potassium, sodium, chloride, uh, selenium, zinc, magnesium, manganese, all of those. Then you have the phytonutrients, which are the plant chemicals that are really beneficial for the human body that a lot of people don't know about, and which is why whole foods are so good because the processing kind of degrades all of these. And then obviously the water in foods. That's what makes up food. And because our nutrient supply in our modern foods is so much lower than previously, we really need to be making sure that we're eating high quality foods and very nutrient dense foods so we can supply our body with what it properly needs to both build and function our body. And I believe if a lot more people in the US and around the world ate a lot healthier, the foods on here, but also any other foods as long as they're, whole and, farmed well and made from healthy animals, then I believe that's absolutely fine. And of course, we know that because we all have evolved in different ways and in different areas, people respond to foods differently. So this is definitely not the perfect diet by any means. This is a very good diet for me, for what I have found so far, as I'm only 20 years old. But I continue to iterate. My diet hasn't always been like this. It probably won't always be like this. But this is what I currently do right now as an athlete and just someone who wants to have a lot of energy and feel good, and not be sick and things of that sort. Keep me strong. And I believe it does so pretty well. And if there's anything that I need to change, then I'll just swap it out just as anyone should. But with that being said, hopefully this will help you, understand a little bit more about what I eat, but not necessarily to learn about me, but to compare it to yourself and what you eat and maybe adding some of these things into your diet if you want to, or, just learning a little bit as you go. So I split it up into things that I eat both at school and at home. I'm currently on spring break right now, but at home, I had like 4 months in the summer and like 1 month in the winter and a couple months off, and then I'm at school for the rest of that time. I am trying to get a place off campus for next year to cook, but currently I'm at odds with, the dining hall and what is provided at the university that I go to. So let's start off. One of the biggest ones that I eat every day is a little bit of chocolate, whether it's 50 calories worth or up to 100, 200 if I have like a chocolate dessert. But the really big things, so chocolate is going to be primarily fat. I make sure to get chocolates that are pretty much at least 85% dark or above. There's this really great brand called the Conscious Bar that's just made from cacao and dates, and it tastes super good. I love that. That would be the best. That one's pretty expensive though. Other ones I go with like Alter Echo. I go with usually the 90%, so very little bit of added, unrefined coconut sugar, which I think is completely worth it based on the chocolate. And what's so good about chocolate is it has a lot of polyphenols, which is a phytonutrient, which is just so beneficial for the human body in a bunch of different ways. You can look it up. Um, and that's kind of similar for all of these. All of them obviously have great macros. They fit in as a great quality source of protein, fat, or carbs. And they also are very high in phytonutrients, which is definitely what I'm trying to get into my diet. The next big one is wild salmon, great fats, great protein, just a whole food in general. The biggest thing here, why I eat it every day, is for the omega-3 fats, which are super good for our brain and our skin and our heart health. Don't usually hear me saying heart health because it's so like deranged now, but it is very good for your entire body. I, in the past, have supplemented with omega-3s on top of the salmon. I currently have done blood testing and I will continue to do blood testing for the rest of my life. And I learned that my omega-3s was like almost at the cusp of the high end. So I have stopped really supplementing with omega-3s too much and just kind of gotten them through my salmon, which is definitely enough. And as long as I'm eating a good quality diet, not many bad fats, which maybe a little bit of a problem at school, but as long as I'm not doing that, then salmon every day is more than enough omega-3s. It's about 5 ounces. I usually go canned salmon because it's easier at school and just at home it's cheaper. Sometimes, I'll make salmon fillets for my family or my family will cook them, but usually it's canned. Additionally, I love cottage cheese. I don't know how I didn't get into it earlier, but it just tastes so good. And what I add into the cottage cheese is nutritional yeast. Nutritional yeast is a game changer. It is so nutrient dense and so low calorie. It kind of tastes like cheese. So I mix it in. I do like cottage cheese, nutritional yeast, and salt, and it tastes like even cheesier cottage cheese. So good, and it's so nutritious. So definitely a bunch of micros for the nutritional yeast. And if you do get it, I get it from a company called Foods Alive, and you want to make sure that it is not synthetic. So many nutritional yeasts, especially the like the mainstream ones, are just added synthetic vitamins and minerals, which is not what you want. It's like fortified. Actual nutritional yeast is very nutritious in itself, and so the only ingredient should be nutritional yeast or whatever it's legitimately called. But you don't want the ones that are fortified. And I get it from Foods Alive, like I said. And the cottage cheese, I usually do 2% fat. Sometimes I do 4, but at school it's 2%, and I usually do 2% at home to make it easier. And cottage cheese, obviously, great source of protein. And I love combining the cottage cheese with the salmon. It just tastes really good to me. That's what I do it. Obviously, I make sure to eat very good quality foods, but it also tastes super delicious to me. Everything that I eat tastes so good, and that's why I enjoy it so much. And I feel like being so long without really eating much processed and sugary things, I still do eat processed and sugary things sometimes, but very rarely, and therefore everything else that's real tastes super good. Even the, GMO watered down versions that are, conventionally grown that don't have as much nutrients as they have in the past and aren't as, because they're not as nutritious as tasty, they still taste so good to me, and I love everything that I eat, and that's what I want most people to do. That's what I want everyone to do. Love the diet that they eat and also have it be healthy for them, which I think is absolutely possible with the wide range of not only foods, plants, vegetables, proteins from animals and other sources, and dairy, and spices and herbs and different ways of cooking. I mean, there's so many ways that you can find something that you truly enjoy. I kind of tend to eat all of these things or most of these things the same every single day because I've made sure that I'm making sure to get enough vitamins and minerals and macros from all of these, and it's simply just easier for me, and I'm okay eating the same things every day. Obviously, it's not the same things, but probably like 50 to 70% of what I eat is the same every single day. I'll vary up little things based on, if I'm home or what I'm feeling, what I want to eat. I think that makes it easy for me, and I feel like most people probably do that anyway. Cottage cheese, nutritional yeast, salt, I add onto my food a lot, which I'll talk about later. And then fruit. Fruit is going to be probably my biggest carb source. And I'll just go over it right now. The best ones are going to be, berries, pineapple, kiwi, these things that I am in eating. At school, we have a lot of pineapple, strawberry, grapes, cantaloupe. Those are out a lot. We have bananas and oranges. All of those are great. And so I eat them and I love to eat them. They're delicious, as I think most people would like to. This is like fruit is like my sweet tooth. I love that it's so healthy. And even though it has a lot of sugar in it, yes, it's, you know, complex and integrated with whatever is also in the fruit based on, the water, the phytonutrients, the fiber, everything else that makes it very healthy for us. Sugar isn't necessarily just the bad guy or just a bad guy in general. It's the fact that added and processed sugar is devoid of everything else that food gives us: fiber, protein, vitamins and minerals, phytonutrients. And that's what makes it bad when it's just straight up sugar. Then at home I'll still eat pineapple, I'll still eat strawberries, grapes, some bananas, oranges. But at home I also love to do kiwis, which I might also start buying at school for my night snack on high intensity days, which I talked about in my last video. Also, berries galore at home. I love raspberries. I make an awesome raspberry jam at home. I love blueberries. I love blackberries. Usually they're frozen just because they last a lot longer and they don't go bad as quickly. And I just low-key like the taste of like frozen cold food. Another one that I love that I eat at both school and at home is frozen mango. It's literally dessert to me. Like I can have a cup of that for like 50 or 100 calories after dinner or just any time throughout the day, and it will literally be dessert. It's so good. So fruit, again, very big carb source for me, and a very big source of a lot of vitamins and minerals because fruit is very nutritious, as well as the plant chemicals, of course, because they're in fruit. Another thing that I eat almost every day is Greek yogurt bowls. I mean, Greek yogurt bowls are another dessert. Like they're so good, and I have it for breakfast many, many days, especially at school. At home, I'll have it, whenever during the day. But it's crazy to me that I just get to eat this, and it literally tastes like a dessert. I do honey in it, raw, unfiltered honey, um, chia seeds, and cinnamon. The cinnamon is Ceylon cinnamon, which is better for you. And and then I also usually add in wild blueberries at home. At school, I'll do pineapple, and God, it just tastes so good. At school, it's 0% fat. At home, I usually do whole milk, which ends up being like 160 calories, or ends up being like 200 calories for 20 grams of protein, I think, added out. But another thing that I do a lot is I weigh my food, and I have for a while, and there's times where I will and I won't. Right now, on spring break, I'm not really doing it at home for the week, but when I go back to school and I will really be dieting based on the video that I did previous to this, I will be weighing myself pretty much every single day. And I do it not because I'm so like orderly. I mean, I like to be, but I'm also just super interested to like plug it into my app that I use and just see, how much I'm eating, what that gives me, things like that. It's kind of like a game to me. I know that can sound kind of weird to people, but it is cool. And the app I use is called Chronometer. It's really nice. That's where I've learned so much about all of this stuff in terms of vitamins, minerals, what all these foods have, and the phytonutrients based on Chronometer. And it's just so cool. And even if it's not 100, it's not going to be 100% accurate because, of course, nutrients have gone down over the years, and not all fruits and vegetables have like the exact same ratios and stuff. Also depends on like how the fruit and vegetables grown, how far it's traveled, things like that. But it's so good. So like I add 20 grams so I usually do Greek yogurt, 200 to 300 grams, honey, 20 grams usually, chia seeds, 10 grams, cinnamon, however much I dump on there. But like I can tell you how much calories and things these all have. Like 30 grams of, uh, 300 grams of Greek yogurt, the 0% is something around 200 calories with like 30 grams of protein. The honey, 20 grams is 60 calories. The chia seeds, 10 grams is 50 calories. A lot of fiber in chia seeds, a lot of polyphenols. Same thing in honey, a lot of phytonutrients in honey, which you think like what, but it is a plant food. It comes from the pollen that the bees make from the plants, and also the bees give off, their own kind of beneficial nutrients as well, which is really cool from like their saliva and things of that sort. And then the cinnamon as well has a lot of phytonutrients and has a lot of beneficial aspects to it in itself, um, with you know helping you with blood sugar and insulin sensitivity and things of that sort. So Greek yogurt bowls are staple for me. I love them. Eggs also, any cooked any way. I love over easy. I love scrambled. I love hard boiled. I love omelets. They're so good and very nutritious. Eggs and beef are very similar. I think eggs have more like choline, which is kind of like a brain nutrient, like super good for your brain, super good for like when you're pregnant and you're developing your child's brain and breastfeeding, things of that sort. And then yeah, very high in like B vitamins, very high in zinc, some other minerals, both very good. But my proteins are, diverse across based on, the dairy with the cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, Parmesan cheese, the salmon, the eggs, the beef. It's a good amount and diverse amount too. So eggs and beef I eat most days. Eggs is like maybe, maybe not. I usually just have some hard-boiled ones in the fridge when I'm home. At school, I usually have them. Depends on how much I need for like protein and fat extra that day. But in the past, I've usually done 4 a day. I will probably be decreasing that because I already eat enough protein and fat with everything else that I eat. So yeah, I talked about that last video. Another thing I'll do that later actually. Sweet potato is another one of my big carb sources. Not big, but I'll have maybe like 200 calories or more every single day. And it's great. Super high in vitamin A, super high in folate, other vitamins and minerals, very high in phytonutrients. When I'm home, I buy the purple ones, which are even higher in like polyphenols of that sort. And I just love the way that they taste too. Some people don't like the sweet potato taste. I love it. Not when I was younger, but I grew to like it more. Bell peppers are actually a cheat code that I've learned of recently. They are so nutritious, so high in vitamin E, which is a very kind of hard nutrient to get, and other vitamins, minerals. Again, I'd have to look, but I know it's very high in all of these. I'll just literally eat a full bell pepper like an apple at home, and at school they're diced up in the salad bar, so I have that. Um, Broccoli is one that I also eat both school and at home. One of the best vegetables in general, cruciferous. So it has these certain chemicals in it that help you bind and release toxins from your body, especially microplastics, which is very important. Super high in folate, again, super high in vitamin C, vitamin A, I believe, and a whole other bunch of vitamins and minerals, potassium. Just one of the best. I'll also do cauliflower at home. I'll do Brussels sprouts at home, which is very similar. Cruciferous, super high vitamins and minerals, polyphenols. Another one that I do all the time is avocado. Again, very high in folate, some of the B vitamins, those other vitamins with, I think, E a little bit, A. And it's a great source of fat as well. I love the I love the ground beef bowls at home. Avocado, sweet potato, beef, cottage cheese, maybe some nutritional yeast in there, some broccoli. That's a dinner I have all the time. So avocado is absolutely great. And then one of my favorite snacks ever, favorite combos is Parmesan cheese and dates. Parmesan cheese I call nature's protein bar. It just has so much protein. I do like about 60 grams usually when I do it, like 60 grams, 3 dates. I'm actually upping it to 6 dates for my higher intensity and medium intensity days based on my previous video. But I'll cut up the Parmesan cheese into like 6 slices and then cut the dates into 6 halves and I put them on like the date on top of the Parmesan cheese and eat them. And it's so good. Parmesan cheese, so like the 60 grams has about 220 calories and 20 grams of protein. So crazy good macros. Again, great source of fat and saturated fat. Don't be afraid of saturated fat, especially if it's from, or yeah, especially if it's from, whole, really good foods like beef, like Parmesan cheese, like eggs. And then also you want to make sure you get a lot of monounsaturated fats, which is what I do as well with the avocado and some of the other nuts and things that I eat. Parmesan cheese and dates, delicious combo. You got to try it. The sweet, salty, it's so good. I already talked about the frozen mango. Again, super high in phytonutrients, as are the dates from fruit. Nuts I eat often too. Not too much. I'll have a little bits of certain nuts varied every day, usually. I love kind of all of them, but macadamia, cashew, pistachio, peanut butter, I eat a lot at home. uh, Almonds, hazelnuts, walnuts, and pecans, they're all good in their own ways. They all have slightly different macros, which I don't really care about, but they all have different phytonutrients, which is why I eat all of them in a diverse arena. But I probably won't eat more than, you know, I'll probably have like at least 50 calories of one of them or a couple of them a day, up to kind of like 200, unless I uh, have like peanut butter, which is probably more calories. But yeah, I love, and you got to make sure they're small, like very small amounts. You don't want handfuls. That's like way too many calories. So chocolate and nuts kind of fall in like the same category of like, really good healthy fats and super high again in vitamins, minerals, phytonutrients. And then edamame is one that I love as well. The edamame beans, either in the bean or out of the bean. Again, they have a certain phytonutrient that is really good for something in the human body. I forget. I read it in actually this book right here. Dr. Berg, oh no, not Dr. Berg. Mark Hyman's Young Forever. This is a really good book talking about, the uh, emerging functional medicine and other super good things that you can do for your body in terms of peptides, stem cells, exosomes, some other therapies that are really nice coming out and will be the future. And he talks about living to 120, even beyond healthy, which is, what we all want. We want to be able to move our bodies and live our wonderful lives as long as humanly possible, which is why I'm feeding my body the best things so that I create with my body the best foundation and give it the most efficient fuel source because you are what you eat. Then quinoa, I eat decently at school sometimes in like the a little bowl, not much, but I think I'm gonna start eating more based on the increase in carbs that I'll be doing for my intensity days at school, like I said in my previous video. And I think I'm gonna experiment more with them at home too. I would say fruit's probably better, but I eat so much fruit, and so uh, I think quinoa could be a good addition too. Maybe like substitute rice in some certain meals that my mom makes or my family makes. So then at school, I only do green tea because it's easier. I can't make my own coffee at school. At home, I do make my own coffee. I brew it. I get my own beans from a really good supplier that I trust, and then I, grind them in a grinder I got, and then I put them in the French press, put the water over it, the almost boiling water, and like 4 minutes, stir it up, press it down, pour it. It's so good. It's so delicious. And that's going to be super high in phytonutrients, especially because I grinded my own coffee beans and they weren't already pre-grounded. But super high in a certain phytonutrient. Green tea is also super high in another phytonutrient. I only do like 1 cup of either of these a day. At home in the summer, I'll usually do every other day. I'll do 1 day green tea, 1 day coffee. When I was younger, even just a couple years ago, I used to be kind of afraid of caffeine. I didn't want to, you know, let it become a crutch. My dad is frankly addicted to caffeine, but I found that I just, number one, love the taste. I know that there's two super very beneficial phytonutrients in both of those that are very powerful for the human body in terms of helping you, uh, lose fat, have a faster metabolism, be more resilient to illness and disease, just many other things. And so I used to kind of be afraid of coffee in that sense of the caffeine. But with the phytonutrients, like I said, and the fact that when I drink it, I just feel so much more energetic, whether that's truly the caffeine, even though it's probably only like 100 milligrams, or whether it's the placebo, whatever it is, it very much helps me be more energetic throughout the day. And I feel like that's totally worth it. Plus, as long as I drink it before 12 or 1, it won't affect my sleep at all. If anything, it'll probably benefit my sleep because I'll have spent more energy throughout the day and kind of be more tired and ready to fall asleep. And yeah, I've just found it to be super beneficial in my life as I've tried it. So I'll probably be doing that forever. Um, so yeah, green tea and coffee a lot. I already talked about the fruit. Like I said, at home, I get bread from this company, bread and bagels from this company called Royo. It's based in Brooklyn, New York, and their ingredients are super good. They make it out of like psyllium husk and wheat protein. It's kind of crazy how they're able to make such a good tasting and good texture bread that really looks and tastes like bread, not made from like wheat flour and things of that sort. Super low calorie, very high fiber, high protein, which I don't really care about. because I already get enough protein and stuff. But yes, very good fiber, and that's I use it to make I put my raspberry jam on it. I do peanut butter and jellies. I'll do like peanut butter with banana and honey. That's usually what I use the bread for. I don't really make sandwiches, but I guess I could use it for like burger buns, but I usually just do burger bowls instead. I already talked about the fruit. At home, I do more steak than I do ground beef because that's just what they have. Also at school, I do beets and onions, which I don't really do at home. Sometimes I'll get beets and onions. I want to find a way to get actually both of them, but especially onions into my diet at home because beets have a lot of, it's called nitric oxide, which is super good for your blood supply. And then onions have just a very good phytonutrient in it, I know, that is very beneficial. And also just whole foods in general. Potatoes. I do sweet potato at home and at school. Sometimes I'll also do potatoes at school when I need more carbs. I have to be careful though because they use certain oils and I don't really want to be eating the seed oils at all, or especially too much of them at school. They'll often use canola, soy. They used margarine one time, which I was flabbergasted by. But I do also like potatoes a lot, especially with my cottage cheese. It's so good. So that's school, home, coffee, royo bread, like I talked about, those fruits, like I talked about. Again, I'll have ground beef more at home, and then Brussels sprouts, cauliflower, broccoli. Those are kind of the vegetables I eat at home with edamame. Avocado is a fruit, but it's kind of like a fatty vegetable. I don't know. And so that's pretty much my diet. What I eat 90% of the time, I would say. I do sometimes based on what like maybe my mom will make, or if we go out to dinner or something, like obviously I will have, certain things that aren't on here and maybe certain things that aren't too good. One of my all-time downfalls or favorite foods is sushi. And sushi, the average quality sushis, which is what the ones I get, I'm not getting the super high quality, super expensive stuff. But the average ones I get are probably not too healthy. They add some certain things to the fish. The fish probably aren't, they're probably farm raised, not wild caught. And yeah, they definitely put some other things in either like the sauces or even the rice vinegar that they make the sushi out of. But I love sushi, and the dumplings definitely not too good. But again, like it's not often, and so yeah, I just really enjoy the foods that I eat, and that's why I eat them all the time. And I know that they're super healthy for me, and I know that they make my body a lot better. And frankly, if I stop eating well, my skin gets a lot worse. I feel a lot worse. I don't perform as well, both cognitively and physically. So this is just why I love doing this a lot. Supplements that I take in the winter, I take D3 and K2 often. In the summer, I take it less often, but I still take it. Creatine, 5 to 10 grams a day. Again, like I said, I used to supplement with omega 3s. I don't anymore too much because I'm having the wild salmon, but I'll make sure my family or those I care about are taking some omega 3s, especially if they're not eating enough seafood. And then again, I salt my food like hell. I'm very active and I don't get enough sodium through my diet pretty much. So I supplement with, or first of all, I salt everything a lot just because I enjoy the taste. And then second, every single morning, with my creatine, I use a sodium packet. I home make the Element packets. There's a big company called Element who is kind of forerunning the sodium packets and electrolyte packets, and they do a really good job. They also share their recipe online on their website, and therefore I bought the ingredients because it's only 4 because I flavor it with lemon powder, and I make my own Element packet, which makes them a way cheaper. And it's kind of annoying when I have to make them, but after that I'm set for a while, and so that's what I do. So eat very good whole foods, buy the highest quality that you can. Your body and you will thank your own self, and also the people around you will thank you. Make sure you're eating a diverse amount of plants, fruits, vegetables, well-raised meats, wild meats, and yeah, you'll be absolutely set. So this is what I eat. If it ever changes in the future, I'll make another video, but this is it for a while. Thanks for watching.